Okay, so hello again. This is the sixth talk in the series of talks on the Buddha, and this one is called Miracles. So the Buddha was staying at Nalanda in a mango grove just outside the city. In later centuries, Nalanda was famous for its great monastic university that developed there, but in the Buddha's day it was a populous city. These days it's really just a village, a museum and the ruins of the great university, along with a lot of gift stores and so on. So the Buddha was staying at Nalanda, and a young lay follower of the Buddha called Kevada came to see him. He was very devoted to the Buddha, we're told. He'd obviously been thinking about things, and he came to the Buddha with a suggestion, or maybe more of a request. Nalanda is a rich and prosperous and well-populated city, he said. There's already many people here who have faith in the Lord. It would be very good if you asked one of your monks to perform some superhuman feats and miracles so that more people will become your disciples. The Buddha replied, Kevada, this is not the way I train my monks in Dhamma, in the truth of things, telling them to go and perform miracles in order to impress the layfolk. But Kevada wasn't going to be put off so easily from his idea. I don't want to be presumptuous, but you know, it really could make a difference. You know, you could really get a lot more disciples if you asked one of your monks to perform a miracle. The Buddha's reply was the same. But Kevada must really have wanted to see a miracle, because he put his request a third time. So the Buddha's now said, listen, Kevada, there are three kinds of miracles that I know from my own experience. There's the miracle of psychic powers, there's the miracle of telepathy, and the miracle of teaching. With psychic powers, a monk might be able to manifest many bodies, walk through walls and mountains, fly through the air, walk on water, even travel to the realms of the gods. And suppose someone who has faith sees someone performing one of these miracles. They might tell someone else who's skeptical, and that skeptical person might say, oh yes, I've heard of people who've trained their minds and use mantras and so on to perform these sort of miracles. And in this way, faith might actually be undermined rather than strengthened. It seems in the Buddha's day there were quite a few of these sort of magicians around who'd train their minds and would perform all sorts of apparent feats and miracles. So the Buddha then went on. It's the same if somebody has developed telepathic powers and can just read other people's minds and describe their thoughts just in order to impress. Again, you know, some people have just developed this through mantra and training, and it's just really cheap magic if it's used to impress people, and I don't want anything to do with it. But Kevada, there is the miracle of instruction, the miracle of teaching. If Kevada, a Buddha, a fully enlightened one, appears in the world, if they teach, and if those who are receptive listen, and if they put the teachings into practice, and if they go on to realize for themselves the wisdom and compassion of the Buddhas, that Kevada is the real miracle. That's the only miracle that really interests me, even though I know very well and have experience of those other miracles. The Buddha goes on to tell Kevada a story. One of the delights for me of exploring the Pali Canon and the stories of the Buddha, has been discovering his sense of humour and the gentle irony he would sometimes bring into play. So he told this story. One of my monks once had a burning question that he really wanted an answer to. Where do the four great elements of earth, water, fire and air come to an end without any remainder? So this monk was a skilled meditator. He developed some of these psychic powers. He entered into a deep concentration and travelled to the heaven of the devas, the gods associated with the four great kings. The four great kings are the protectors of the world and live in the lowest of the many heavens of ancient India. So this monk approached the gods in this heaven and asked his question, where do the four elements of earth, water, fire and air, where do they disappear without any remainder? We might phrase it, where does all material existence come to an end completely without remainder? We don't know, replied the gods, but ask the four great kings themselves. They might know. So he went to the four great kings, but they couldn't answer his question. And they suggested he went up to the next level, to the heaven of the 33. So up he went, and he asked his question there. The gods couldn't answer, but again they directed him to Sakka, king of the gods of that realm. He didn't know. But why don't you try the next level up? Try the heaven, the Yama heaven. Try the gods there. And so he went on, up, directed again, up and up, the gods of each of the realms not able to answer his question, till eventually he was directed to the highest heaven of all, to the gods surrounded Brahma, the greatest of all the gods. So the monk entered into deep concentration and travelled up to the heaven of Brahma and his retinue. And he put his question to the gods there. Where do the four great elements of earth, water, fire and air come to an end completely, so there's nothing left of any of them? Sorry, we don't know the answer to that question, but there is Brahma, great Brahma, unsurpassed great being, maker and creator, all-seeing, all-powerful, master of all who are and can ever be, who is greater than us. He is sure to be able to answer your question. The monk thought, yes, finally I'm close to getting an answer. So he asked the gods, and where is great Brahma to be found, friends? Oh, he's not here at present, and it's not for us to know the comings and goings of great Brahma. But we can always tell when he's about to appear, because a great light shines forth, and then there he is. So just wait. He's sure to come. The monk waited, and before too long a great light shone out, and there he was, Brahma, in all his glory. The monk approached Brahma, paid his respects, and asked his question. Brahma replied, I am great Brahma, unsurpassed great being, maker of all, great creator, all-seeing, all-powerful, master of all who are and can ever be. The monk was a bit baffled by this response. Yes, but what I asked is... He asked his question and Brahma responded in the same way. I am great Brahma, unsurpassed great being, maker and creator, all-seeing, all-powerful, master of all who are and ever can be. But that's not what I asked, said the monk. Brahma took the monk by his arm and led him to one side. And he said to the monk, look, the gods here think I know everything, so I can't speak in front of them. But I don't know the answer to your question. You better go back to the Buddha your teacher and ask him your question and listen very carefully to what he has to say. So the monk descended back down through all the heavens and came to the Buddha and put his question to him. Where do earth, water, fire and air come to an end completely without any remainder? Wrong question, responded the Buddha. The right question is, where do earth, water, fire and air find no footing whatsoever? And the answer is, where consciousness is signless, limitless and all luminous. That is where earth, water, fire and air find no footing. There, long and short, small and large, beautiful and ugly, their name and form are completely destroyed, and defiled discrimination consciousness done away with. So the Buddha told this story. Kevada was delighted by the Buddha's words and didn't ask for any more miracles.